In the last video, we talked about congruent triangles, and I told you that two congruent triangles, all their angles match, which means you'd have three pairs of congruent angles, but all their sides are going to match too. So you have three pairs of congruent sides. Well, altogether, that's 6 things to check. But at the end of that video, I told you don't need to check 6 things. You actually only need to check 3, but they need to be in the right combinations. So in this video today, we're going to talk about the side-side-side combination, and I'm going to show you how it works, but I'm also going to do some problems, and at the very end, we'll do a proof that uses this congruence theorem. If you have 2 triangles that have the same side lengths, they're going to have the same shape, so you don't have to check all the angles. You don't need to know. So what I did is I just took each one of these sides and traced them onto, it's called patty paper, I ordered it, but tracing paper, wax paper, parchment paper, something like that. So those are the sides. Now if I take them over here, can I make a different shaped triangle using these 3 side lengths? You could also do this with spaghetti or pencils that have 3 different lengths. And there it is. I've got everything kind of flipped around, but that's the same triangle. That's the same shape. Determine if the 2 triangles are congruent. If they are, state how you know. Well, I have 1 pair of congruent sides, I have 2 pairs of congruent sides, and I have 3 pairs of congruent sides. So, yes, and the reason is side, side, side. I know that seems pretty obvious. Sometimes it will be. Determine if the 2 triangles are congruent. If they are, state how you know. Well, if they are, it's going to be side, 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 because that's what we're talking about in this lesson. But right now, you only see 2 pairs of congruent sides. They are sharing a side, and I wanted to have an example of what that's going to look like. If they are sharing that side, it's congruent to itself. That's called the reflexive property. We're going to use that in a proof at the end here. So I actually have the 3 pairs of congruent sides, so it is yes, and that is side, side, side. All right, determine if they are congruent. Well, there's no sides marked at all. There's only angles marked. And it might seem, I'm looking at it, they look like they're the same size, but you can't take anything for granted, and you can't assume everything is drawn to scale. Just because the angles are congruent, you're looking at this thinking, well, yeah, but it could actually be this situation where one triangle is smaller than the other one. The angles would still be the same. Like if this was a 30-degree angle, this could be a 30-degree angle. The angles have nothing to do with the side lengths. So how do you answer a question like this? Well, this is angle, angle, angle. We'll talk about that later on in the course when we talk about similar triangles. But for right now, we're talking about congruent triangles. So this is going to be not enough info. A different kind of problem. State what additional information is needed in order to have these 2 triangles be congruent. I'm obviously not reading word for word. And the reason they want us to go for is side, 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 because that's what we're talking about. Now, I'm looking at this. I have 2 pairs of congruent, but if you notice there, this 2 mark here goes with this 2 mark here. It looks like this triangle got flipped upside down. If you wanted to say these were congruent triangles, you would have to prove that those third sides are also congruent. So this would be GE, G to E has to be congruent to R to P. If you watched the last video about congruent figures, you got to make sure you have corresponding points. I have G to E. I'm moving from the 2 mark down to the 3 mark. So I have to go from the 2 mark to the 3 mark in the same direction. That's why it's not PR, it's RP. What else do I need to know if I'm going to show side, side, side? They're only giving you 1 pair of congruent sides. Well, a shared side, W to Y, is congruent to Y to W by reflexive property. The ones we're looking for are these guys on the bottom. So I need FY to be congruent to XY. Now I want to show you how we use side-side-side congruence theorem in a proof. First thing you got to do when you're looking at a proof is I want you to mark your diagram. So we have AB is congruent to CB. That means these two sides are congruent. Now you look at this. It says M is the midpoint of AC. Now that's not talking about a side or an angle. It is important information though, because if M is this midpoint here, what does that tell you about these two sides? It means they're congruent. So it's not telling you directly that they're congruent. It's just telling you enough information to figure that out. And we have a shared side in the middle. You got to get used to looking for that. So it's congruent to itself. Then once you have your diagram marked up, you can figure out which congruency theorem you're going to use. Remember, there will be 5. Today we just have 1. So it's going to be side, side, side. Let's start filling out our proof. The first statements you do are your given information. We can say that AB is congruent to CB, and the reason we can say that is because they gave it to us. So write the word given. And then we got one of our sides already. We need to get 3. We have 1 pair of congruent sides. Now the next given information is this midpoint thing. So let's put that in the proof. You have to write it down in the proof. You can't just assume somebody's going to read this. They're saying this is your evidence. You have to state it. And we can state that because it's given. That's not a side or anything like that, but we need it. The reason we need it is because that is going to be the reason why AM is congruent to CM, because that is the definition of a midpoint. That's all you need to say. You don't need to explain, because we learned that midpoints divide segments into 2 congruent parts. Just write definition of midpoint. That's also a congruent side now. Now we need the third side, which is the one in the middle, the thing that is congruent to itself. So BM is congruent to MB, and we can say that because of the reflexive property. That's when something is congruent to itself. That's the name of the property, and that's your third side. So now you can say triangle ABM is congruent to triangle CBM. I didn't just make that up. I'm just taking it from here. That's what they were asking me to prove. And the reason they are is the side-side-side congruence theorem, and that's how I abbreviate it in my proofs. All right, we have now finished with the side-side-side, at least the intro of it. In the next coming videos, we're going to go over these other theorems, but there's also going to probably be another video talking about proofs in general, and then more practice with proofs and more practice with proofs, because this is the headache that I know that geometry students have when they hit this unit. I want to thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. If you can, share this with somebody if you think it's going to help them, because I would like to find people to teach proofs to, because I like teaching proofs. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.